So this is supply and demand part two. I do want to say this. The 15-minute chart does have supply and demand. You can see supply and demand on all time frames, but since we enter our trades on the 5 and 15, that's the only time frames we really care about when it comes to supply and demand. So in this video, I'm just going to walk you through setups so you can spot supply and demand more easier moving forward. Okay. So right here, what do we have? We have aggressive selling right here. This is the beginning of the move that started the aggressive selling. What is this? This is supply. So we will draw our box right at the beginning of that move. Now, like I said before, supply and demand can be mixed with support and resistance. So to make your charts look a little bit more cleaner, use horizontal lines for your support and resistance, and use boxes for your supply and demand, just so your charts won't look like a bunch of just zones all over the place and you get confused. So the horizontal lines, support and resistance, the zones will be for supply and demand. Okay. And usually I put a cash money sign inside of the box just so I can know that it's supply and demand. Let's go to the next setup. Okay, so again, like I said, all you need is 2 candles to spot supply and demand. So right here was the start of the impulse. Where's the impulse? Right here. That was the impulse. Once we've seen that big blue candle, we know that the big banks are in the market, and we should be getting prepared for it to come back to fill these orders to go back up, because we know those orders was placed right here. The hedge funds and all the big dogs, they bought right here. Okay, they moved this up, and why would they come back to stop those out if they're buying? You know what I'm saying? So since we see that they're buying, we are going to draw a box in this area for it to come back to continue up. And for this setup, this is also support and resistance setup. So don't get support and resistance and supply and demand mixed up. Okay, they're not the same, because this setup could have easily came deep into this, then went up. You know, support and resistance will not get respected perfectly in this illustration. It did, but all the time it won't. Sometimes people don't even know that be supply and demand area. They just, they just don't even be aware of it. So say if this did come under this support area, this would be a supply setup only. I mean, a demand setup only. So yeah, just be wary of that. But yeah, the horizontal lines definitely look more cleaner. You would know that that's support and resistance. And yeah, let's go to the next setup. Okay, so we have some more aggressive selling right here. It's the orders started from over here. So we would draw our box over here in this area. We also have support. Okay. I mean, we also have resistance right here, because like I said, on downtrends, we're looking for swing lows. It's breaking structure to the downside. So we will be drawing up our key levels at the swing lows. So once it came back up, it became resistance, and we are at a supply area. That's a bonus. So boom, we got supply and we have resistance. Perfect. We get in once it breaks below this candle, and we can get a good 1 to 3 risk reward, or 1 to 2, or even 1 to 1, depending on your patience. And yeah, that was a good trade. Here go another setup. This one pullback and this massive explosion is demand. Okay, a lot of people don't know that. When there is it can be 2 candles. It can be 2 candles. So this little baby pullback and that massive move, that's demand. So once it came back into that area, we will be buying right here for a quick little 1 to 1. I will go for a 1 to 1 because we've been pushing it for way too long. I wouldn't go for nothing higher than that. Okay. Okay, we have another demand area. We have aggressive buying. Aggressive buying orders was placed down here. We will be drawing our box over here and drag it across. It never really reached it, but then it came back here to get into the zone. We will be buying over here, and once we bought, you see what happened. You see what happened once you bought. Okay. Okay, we have another one. Okay. 2 candles is all it takes. This big black candle and that blue candle is all it takes. So that's supply. Now, I have to say this. You see how it never really reached back into that area? It's okay if it don't. It's still close enough. We still have what? Just this little area right there. That's close enough. I don't want y'all to miss opportunities because y'all wanted to perfectly get back into the zone. Okay. The market is not perfect. This is a good size distance to get into a trade. So all we're looking for is it to start rejecting from it. So we see it engulfing. Okay, it's breaking the low of candles. Okay, get in somewhere over here. Get your quick 1-to-1 or the 1-to-2, and take your profits. Most of the time I'm looking for 1-to-1s. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna talk about my risk reward on my next video when we explain entries, candlestick patterns, and just certain setups that we look for. I'm gonna explain all the risk rewards I look for. Okay. But yeah, it don't have to exactly get perfectly into supply and demand. The same for support and resistance. It don't have to perfectly touch support and resistance. As long as it's starting to reject it and it's kind of close to it, that's good enough. That's good enough. The market not perfect. We have to be okay with that. Okay. Okay, and this is the last setup. This is an easy setup. Well, what do we have? This is the 15-minute chart. Let's not forget, this is the 15-minute chart. So we have aggressive buying right here, right? Once we see that they the big dogs place their order over here, we're zoning up. We are zoning up. Now look at this. Look at that. Did it stop at that support right there? No, it didn't. It did not stop right there. It stopped in supply and demand. Okay, it stopped in the demand area. People that just be trading only support and resistance don't be understanding that it's not gonna always respect support and resistance. It's not gonna always respect supply and demand. We just have to be prepared for both. So say if it don't come to supply and demand and it's bouncing off support, we get in. Okay, it don't bounce off support and resistance. Okay, we still have our supply and demand ready. We're ready for both. So in this situation, it didn't respect support and resistance. It respects supply and demand. So boom, we get in for that buy, and that'll be it. But that's all I got. Let's get to the next video of entries, candlestick patterns, and setup that we look for. Let's go.